EXO Kitty has just been released on Netflix, and as we all expected, it was full of drama, scandal, love triangles, and lots of emotion from the characters. With the show making an impact when Season 1 was released back in 2023, the drama of what Kitty was going to do following Mino admitting his feelings for her despite being Dae's best friend was something that was addressed immediately. With the introduction of Stella and her being a suspicious character, and several of the main characters being in completely different situations by the end of the show, let's dive into it and break down all that happened in Season 2. Here is EXO Kitty Season 2 Ending Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. Kitty. I'm not gonna lie, as I was watching the show, I just couldn't stop thinking about how much a friendship group definitely didn't need a Kitty. She was with Dae, kissed Yuri, which led Juliana and Yuri to break up. She had a couple of dates with Pravina and wasn't honest with her, and she also had feelings for Mino. She couldn't decide what she wanted, but if there were any more people, that friendship group would be on the cusp of imploding. Kitty being in Korea was all about her getting in touch with her roots and becoming closer to her mother, who passed away when she was 3 years old. This took center stage in the story this time round, with her finding out that her grandmother had a sister that was living there that she chose to forget about due to her leaving the country for a man when she was younger, and it causing a rift in the family. This sister relationship actually turned out to be the very thing that Kitty's mother tried to repair whilst she was in Korea with Sejun, known as Simon, who was Jiwon's father. So Kitty fulfilled her mother's dream of reuniting both grandparents and bringing the family together. A moment which really did show that she was following in her mother's footsteps and was extremely similar to her. Outside of the family side of the story, Kitty was getting in touch with what she was looking for in a relationship, and even though she had feelings for Yuri, she came to the understanding that she cared about Minho more than she thought she would. However, with Mino being with Stella, who was actually named Esther, Mino wasn't interested in her. Mino helped Kitty on several occasions in this season, but most importantly, he acted as that bridge between the language barrier which allowed her to connect with her great aunt and allowed the opportunity to meet with her. It was once Minho realized that Stella was lying about who she was and blackmailing the family where he appreciated what Kitty did, and then there was romantic tension between them. Even right at the end of the season, they didn't share a kiss with one another, which to me shows that the creator of the show could be building them up to be the endgame, as it seems like they want to build tension. With Mino going on tour with his brother throughout the summer, we saw Kitty ask Minho to spend the summer with him. So when the show comes back for Season 3, which will most likely be set in the next academic year, I think we could see them in some kind of relationship. With the music competition being the very thing that allowed the school to get more funding, it also meant that Kitty's scholarship program was able to be funded. So even though it was looking like she might have needed to have returned to Portland, with them getting new funds, she'll be back for the next year. Mino. Mino was the main love interest in this season of the show, and with that we saw more of an insight into his backstory and his family life. Mino's father was this Simon Cowell type figure who pretty much neglected him for most of his life. But this season saw the both of them grow closer due to him running a program at the school and seeing the similarities between one another. However, with them being closer, it meant that Mino's girlfriend Stella was able to carry out her well-orchestrated plan. When she was younger, she took part in the competition show that Mino's father created, and even though she could sing, he said that she didn't have the look, which caused her to cry and get humiliated on national television, which then also meant that she became part of a viral trend that went round with people making fun of her. The seeds were definitely planted throughout the season, with Stella being a suspicious character. Things such as her walking in as Kitty was putting the letter to Yuri in her secret box, her telling her parents that her name was Stella and not Esther, her not participating in karaoke, and also when she was asked if she had her nose done. Pairing that with the fact that she was walking in and out of the internet cafe so moonleaks couldn't be tracked to her laptop, there was a lot that was strange. She thought she had it all sussed out, but she didn't. She found out information about Junho, Mino's brother, getting a backup dancer pregnant, and she was going to use that as leverage in order to win the singing competition and become the famous singer that she always wanted to be. But with Junho choosing to be with the backup dancer and his father being more accepting of him, it made her plan redundant, and she was getting flown back to Ohio immediately now that it was all found out. Even though her plan was foiled and uncovered, Minor did end up becoming closer with his father and his brother, and the panic and turmoil allowed them to have a new understanding of what was important in life. Like with how Minor helped Kitty with forging a relationship with her great aunt, he got his father to use his private jet to fly Kitty's grandmother and sister over to Korea so they could have the big reunion. He's definitely got feelings for Kitty. We saw this so many times throughout the show with the way that they looked at each other, and Stella also said that his heart wasn't truly with her, so I think we'll see it develop in the next season. Yuri actually got the saddest of all of the endings for the characters. With her kissing Kitty, it meant that she ruined her relationship with Juliana, and even though she was doing her best to make her want her back, it never happened. Juliana actually ended up getting with Pravina, the girl that Kitty was dating briefly. There was no bad blood between Juliana and Yuri, but she put on a brave face and ended up being upset at the fact that they'd only be friends. To top all of that off, earlier on in the episode, her card was frozen and she thought that it was because she was being punished by her mother. But it was actually because the family was facing a class action lawsuit and the assets were going to be frozen. In her words, she said, "So I'm broke." I think this is going to be something that's set up in the next season of the show. I believe Yuri will get a heavy focus in season 3 and we'll watch her experience a different side to life. One where she can't simply get what she wants simply when she wants it. Plus, she won't be with Juliana and she won't be able to be with Kitty because she'll probably be with Minor. So it'll be an interesting arc to follow. Dae also had a bit of a sad arc in this season of the show too. He was mourning his relationship with Kitty and he didn't quite know how to handle just being friends with her. However, he found himself in a relationship with Eunice, and they had an element of happiness. They were both competing in the same singing competition, and Dae was hoping to win it so that he could pay for his father's hospital bills because he had an accident whilst driving. Dae didn't end up winning the competition, but with his father not being held responsible for the accident, it meant that they were going to be getting some money from a lawsuit. He didn't let the competition get in the way of his and Eunice's relationship, so that will be something that'll get developed more in the next season. Q and Jin. This is a relationship that I think will get tested when the show returns. We saw at the end of the season that Q got an offer to go and train at a different university, and it came at the time where Jin realized that he wanted to give up running altogether because he preferred not being stuck on a strict workout schedule and regime. With both of their interest in the sport likely going in different directions and their whole relationship being based around being interested in it and having an element of competition, I think we could see it fall apart in the next season, especially if Q decides to leave. My review of Season 2. I thought this season of the show was alright. I feel like the second half of the season was a lot better than the first because that was where the stakes started to feel a lot higher. I also don't know if I'd say that it was better than the first season of the show. I feel like 10 episodes for this worked a lot better than 8. However, it didn't really decrease the quality that much. When it came to the acting, some of it was a bit ropey at times, but I can look past it because it's not too serious of a show and the subject matter is mainly around drama at a high school, so I don't really expect much. This is definitely a TV series that you can throw on and just zone out and watch. It's easy to just go along with it and ride the drama that it has within it. It never really felt like there'd be an unhappy ending, so it was relatively easy to predict the outcome. Some of the scenes with Mino's father were a bit cringe, and the whole "if you win this competition, you'll become famous" felt a bit 2005, and not quite applicable for 2025. But again, I'll just look past it for the sake of this story. In terms of if the show's worth a watch, honestly, it's on a taste-by-taste basis. It's easy to watch, it's relatively light-hearted, but there are some moments that do catch you and make you feel a bit emotional, especially all of the family stuff. So if you're into that kind of show that's all about high school drama and the story being relatively predictable, give it a go and see what you think. So, there you have it, Exo Kitty Season 2 ending explained.